Oh, come on! A few months ago, I made a video about my experience playing CS2 and how I wanted to try and get good. And at the end of that video, I came to the conclusion that while I could tell CS2 was a good video game, it was not a game that I enjoyed playing and wanted to continue playing. And I meant it. I did not want to keep playing, and I did stop playing for a little bit. However, after a little while, I found that I was still not satisfied because, as I previously stated in that original CS2 video, I do not like the fact that I struggle with this game. I do not like it when there is something in a video game I cannot do. I spend too much time on my computer playing games for me to be struggling at this. Real life stuff? Okay, sure. I'm fine with being bad at that, but video games are my main hobby, my bread and butter. It's the one thing I can confidently say I am somewhat competent at, or at least that's what I delude myself into believing. If you haven't noticed already, me sucking at games is kind of the whole focus of this channel, but anyway, the point is, I didn't like that I wasn't able to enjoy Counter-Strike, and I felt that I was missing out on something really fun. I mean, there has to be a reason why this game is still so popular, especially in an age where most multiplayer games fall off after only being out for like a month. I mean, I know the answer. It's gambling. That's pretty obvious. But even then, the only reason that any of these skins are worth any money is because there is a demand for them. And the only reason there is any demand for them is because people, at least at one point, were in love with this game. So I re-downloaded Counter-Strike and it completely broke my brain. I became completely addicted to it. Not as addicted as a lot of people, but I was engrossed. I think the main reason for that is because unlike last time, this time I knew what to expect. I was completely prepared to die the moment I saw another person. I was totally prepared to get shot in the back. And I was totally prepared to see firsthand how I wasted my childhood playing stupid computer games and didn't even develop any actual skills to make me good at them, and how I will never be a kid again, and just how long forever is, and that once I'm dead, that's it, no do-overs ever for the rest of time, and that I should have made more use of the freedom and joy that comes from being a kid instead of being so focused on wanting to grow up and wanting to sit in front of a screen all day. And with all that preparation, I was having a blast. Now, does that mean Counter-Strike is now super easy for me and I have improved so much in the few months that I've been playing? No, it is still so brutal. However, I definitely did improve my use of the AK. My map awareness got better, and I actually paid a lot more attention to the sounds of my enemy's steps. On top of that, I discovered a big reason why I wasn't having any fun was because I was playing on maps like Dust 2, Inferno, and Mirage. Gross. When I should have been playing on the best map ever, Vetigo. This is the most fun map ever. It has so many places where you can encounter enemies and get into fun firefights, and feels pretty easy to learn the layout of, yet still presents a challenge in how to properly navigate it to avoid dying, at least in my opinion. I think it's a blast, and you can't convince me otherwise. Now, enough talking, let me tell you the story of how I started to love Counter-Strike. Also, my name in Counter-Strike is Melon Man, not Schleuplet, so if you see it on the scoreboard, it says Melon Man. That's why. I didn't take someone else's gameplay, I swear. I started up the game and went directly into competitive. And my lack of skill was made immediately apparent. In fact, I was doing so bad that one of my teammates started to blame me for how badly we were losing. Also because I did end up shooting him by accident. Started attacking me in the game, tried to vote to kick me from the game twice, and made their opinions of me very clear. However, that was surprisingly the last time I encountered someone who blamed me for us losing, which was honestly surprising given this game's reputation for toxicity. I thought I would have to deal with people telling me how bad I was every few games, but that did not happen. Also, despite my performance being just as bad, if not worse than the last time I played, because I was more prepared and accepting of the fact that I was going to spend the majority of my time spectating other players, I wasn't as annoyed and bored as I was last time. And now we can move on to another big reason I learned to love this game, which was deciding to play on Vetigo, a map that I did not play during my first video on CS, which was a terrible decision because I love Vetigo so much. Especially love that hallway that leads to a point, I think it's called a choke point, but I'm not sure. The point is, it's fun. The whole map is fun. It's pretty easy to memorize the layout of, and I don't have to deal with another problem I have with tactical shooters, which is wandering around the map slowly or waiting by a corner for multiple minutes without encountering a single person. On Vetigo, it always always felt like there was something going on. It was never boring, and since I was having more fun, I felt that I was playing a lot better since I was not trying to squeeze out the fun by getting a good KDA, but instead was just enjoying playing the game. Now, don't get me wrong, I didn't become an esports professional. I was definitely still struggling, still making dumb decisions, and still getting frustrated when I didn't do good, but all that was not enough to sour my thoughts on the game as a whole. I even decided to purchase Prime, which at least for me is a big deal. This is like the second free-to-play game along with Marvel Rivals where I have decided to spend money. Normally, I don't purchase any extra content because I don't want to spend money on one single skin or feature in a video game I already have when that money could instead go to buying entirely new games. Another big change that happened was my opinion of the AK in this game. At first, I thought it was way too hard to use and that the M4 would stay as my favorite gun. But after practicing more with the AK and not giving up almost immediately, I began to enjoy using it. Being able to hit my targets using a gun that I had previously found impossible to use felt so satisfying. Even if my accuracy was still worse than the average player, it was an improvement for me. So now the M4 has been demoted to my second favorite gun. If I had to list other things that my enjoyment of the game helped me improve, it would be the pistols. Again, like the AK, going from being completely useless to being below average isn't something most people would view as an improvement, but it's definitely an improvement to me. The Deagle especially was a weapon I found to be incredibly punishing, and it still is, but like the other weapons, I feel a lot more competent when I use it now rather than before. However, if we are going to talk about weapons I improved with, we also should talk about the weapons I didn't, that being the snipers. In pretty much any multiplayer FPS I have played, regardless of if it is a tactical shooter, a hero shooter, a battle royale, anything, snipers have always been my weakness. I am complete garbage at leading my shots, at shooting at the right time, and hate practicing with them to get better, because I hate how I can only shoot once and I have to wait for some reload animation, only to try and hit the target again, miss, and I have to wait again before I can try and shoot. Yes, it is an incredibly short animation in most cases, but I am impatient, so that doesn't matter to me. I hate playing with snipers so much I didn't even want to record gameplay of them, even if it was for this video. I think in the future I'll make a series where I go through multiple games and try to get good with the snipers in those games, but for now I am garbage at using snipers and hate playing with them. I also hate playing against them because I don't like turning around a corner only for someone who has just sat staring down their scope and who has not moved the entire game to land one shot on me and immediately kill me before I even have the chance to notice he's there. Thankfully, that's the only thing I still have a problem with. Other than that, everything else about CS2 is super fun. I honestly don't understand what was going through my mind when I said I didn't like it in the first video I made about it. If I remember correctly, I believe I was just annoyed that I was bad. That was kind of it. I was not having any fun because I went into it thinking I was going to be at least competent, only to then get stomped into the ground. But now that I have accepted that I am bad, I can now enjoy it. And that's the story of how I went from disliking Counter-Strike to loving it.